Welcome to part 3 of this study series on the place of Russia in Bible prophecy entitled The Scattering and Regathering of Israel. God delivered Israel from Egyptian bondage and enabled Israel to defeat enemies and possess the promised land where they dwelt safely in their land and none made them afraid, Ezekiel 39:26. But they transgressed against God, and according to their uncleanness, God hid his face from them. Because of their iniquity, God gave them into the hands of their enemies to fall by the sword, Ezekiel 39:23 and 24, and caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, verse 28, while their land lay waste and desolate, chapter 38, verses 8 and 12. The dispersion of Jews out of the land of Israel and their subsequent settlement in other parts of the world is referred to as the Jewish diaspora. For much of their history, most Jews have lived outside of Israel due to various historical conflicts that led to their persecution, alongside multiple instances of expulsions and exoduses. Jews were taken into exile from the northern kingdom of Israel during the 8th century BC and the southern kingdom of Judah during the 6th century BC. Some of the scattering of the Jews of which Ezekiel wrote happened in his lifetime, but it would continue and be more widespread, and Israel would be under foreign domination as prophesied until Israel would be declared as a state on May the 14th, 1948. Around 538 BC, Cyrus allowed about 50,000 Jews to leave Babylonia and return to Jerusalem. Ezra led Jewish exiles living in Babylon to Jerusalem in 459 BC. However, even after these returns, according to historian Alvin Erlich, by AD 70, more Jews lived in the diaspora than in Israel. The Romans destroyed the temple in AD 70, and according to Josephus, about 97,000 Jewish captives from Judea were sold into slavery. This also led to an increase in voluntary Jewish immigration from Judea. Israel was under Byzantine rule, AD 313 through 636, and then Muslim rule, AD 636 through 1099. When Israel came under Muslim rule, one estimate placed the Jewish population of Palestine at between 300 and 400,000. Israel was under Crusader domination, 1099 to 1291, and then Arab rule, 1291 to 1516. The Arabs severely oppressed the Jews and greatly mismanaged the economy. The result was large-scale migration from Palestine, and the Jewish population declined to only about 5,000. Israel was under Ottoman rule from 1517 to 1917, and British rule from 1918 to 1948. From 1882 to 1939, there were large-scale immigrations to Israel from mainly Russia, Poland, and Germany. According to the American Jewish Yearbook, the Jewish population of Europe was about 9.5 million in 1933. But by the end of the Holocaust and World War II in 1945, most European Jews, 2 out of every 3, had been killed. Over 6 million Jews. God told Ezekiel that he would have mercy on the whole house of Israel and gather all of them out of their enemies' lands unto their own land. Ezekiel chapter 38, verses 8 and 12, chapter 39, verses 25 through 28. When Israel became a sovereign, independent nation in 1948, the population was only 806,000 people. From 1948 to 1951, mass immigration from Europe and Arab countries nearly doubled Israel's Jewish population. Jews are still returning to Israel in large numbers today. In January 1990, the population of Israel was 4.7 million. In January 2022, it has doubled to 9.4 million. From 1948 until the present, there have been a series of military conflicts fought between various Arab countries and Israel. The Arab nations deny Israel's right to exist. There have been over 30 Arab-Israeli peace initiatives and treaties since 1967. Among the latest are the Abraham Accords, which are a joint statement between Israel, the Arab Emirates, and the United States, reached on August 13, 2020, which recognize the importance of maintaining and strengthening peace in the Middle East and around the world. Subsequently, Bahrain joined the agreements. Peace treaties will continue to be made with Israel until the Antichrist shall confirm the covenant in fulfillment of Daniel 9:27. Some Bible scholars believe that the word confirm implies a previous identical covenant which had been broken. The Jews will worship in a rebuilt temple until the Antichrist breaks the covenant, causes the sacrifices to cease, and demands that he and his image be worshiped. Until then, there will be more prototypes of that covenant, which will result in numerous speculations as to which one is the real thing. According to Ezekiel's prophecy, the Battle of Gog and Magog will take place at a time when Israel has been regathered into their ancient land and is dwelling securely and at rest. Ezekiel chapter 38, verses 8, 11, and 14. Israel is not at rest today, but rather under constant threat of her enemies. Could it be that a future covenant which will secure peace for Israel will be broken by Gog and then be confirmed by the Antichrist after Gog's defeat? Ezekiel prophesied that when this battle takes place, that not only would Israel be safe, but also would be prosperous. The purpose of Gog's invasion would be to take Israel as a prey and to take away her wealth. The Lord God told Ezekiel to prophesy and say to Gog, "And thou shalt say, I will go to take a spoil and to take a prey. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy army to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil?" Verses 11 through 13. Sheba and Dedan were brothers and were the great grandsons of Ham, Genesis 10 and 7. Sheba is probably modern-day Saudi Arabia, and Dedan is probably now known as Eula in northern Saudi Arabia. Many Bible scholars believe that Tarshish is England. Tarshish is repeatedly mentioned in the Scriptures in connection with her merchant ships and the isles of the sea. Many believe that with the exception of Libya, the young lions are the countries and territories once ruled by England, as seen on this map, which includes the United States, Canada, India, Australia, Egypt, Sudan, and South Africa. Sheba, Dedan, Tarshish, and all the young lions of Tarshish will disapprovingly question the motive of Gog's invasion as being to take a spoil, and their accusation will be true. One source of Israel's wealth is the Dead Sea. An article by Gordon Gaskell in the Reader's Digest in July 1966 stated that the Dead Sea holds something like 45 billion tons of valuable chemicals, mainly sodium, chlorine, sulfur, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and bromine. Millions of dollars of those chemicals are being shipped, and they have just begun to tap this wealth. In recent years, Israel has discovered amazing reserves of oil and natural gas. A March 8, 2022 news headline in Times of Israel read, "Israel mulls European request for gas as Russia threatens to cut EU supplies." Since then, Russia has cut EU oil supplies, and as of October 2022, Europeans are concerned that they will not have fuel for heating in the winter. On April 12, 2022, an article by Jonah Mandel was released by the AFP news agency, which stated that as Europe aims to wean itself off of Russian fossil fuel because of the Ukraine invasion, Israel hopes to help fill the gap from its offshore reserves. On March the 29th, 2022, Reuters news agency reported that the Russian invasion of Ukraine made Europe more determined to find alternatives to its energy supplies, and that a Turkey-Israel gas pipeline is being discussed behind the scenes as one of Europe's alternatives to Russian energy supplies. As of October 2022, Russian natural gas flows to Turkey and then to Europe. Could it be that Russia will dissuade Turkey from a deal with Israel and persuade Turkey to join forces with Russia to invade Israel and take a spoil of Israel's oil reserves? John Walford has written, in addition to all these factors, it is obvious that the geographic location of the Middle East, being as it is a hub between three major continents, Europe, Asia, and Africa, is of tremendous strategic importance to any nation that wants to dominate the world. The geographic significance of the Middle East alone would be worth the real effort on the part of Russia to have this portion of the world under its control, according to the Nations of Prophecy. The world is swiftly setting the stage for the battle of Gog and Magog.